Be the one, executing your trust and protecting your rights. David E. Robinson challenges us to look critically at the presumptions the state, courts, and policy enforcers operate on. These presumptions govern our lives, yet many of us never question their legitimacy. The state operates on the assumption that everyone is under its jurisdiction. This belief is bolstered by statutory laws that apply to individuals as presumed employees or servants of the state. But the question remains, did we agree to these terms? The core issue here is mutual consent. Many individuals unwittingly fall under these presumed laws from an early age, often through activities like signing birth certificates or other state-sanctioned documents. This leads to presumptive contracts we never agreed to but are legally assumed to be bound by. Statutory law versus natural law. Under natural law, every human has unalienable rights that are not granted by the state but are inherent in their nature as human beings. These laws are moral, universal, and inherent to human existence. In contrast, statutory law is created by governments and applies to individuals who have consented to it, either explicitly or implicitly. These laws are based on contracts, which are binding only if there is a clear agreement between the parties involved. Presumptions in the court system. The state, and particularly courts, operate on presumptions that we are automatically subject to their laws and jurisdiction. This presumption is enforced through statutory law, often involving contractual obligations that many of us have never consciously agreed to. If you were ever questioned by law enforcement or appeared in court, you might be asked to assume you are bound by these laws, even though you've never explicitly consented. Questioning the contract. When dealing with legal matters or authorities, it is important to question the validity of the presumed contract. Was there a contract? Did you agree to it? Was there mutual consideration, something of value exchanged? Did you sign the contract or accept it in a way that indicates agreement? Without a clear, valid contract, you are not legally bound by the presumptions placed on you by the state or courts. This is especially crucial when dealing with policy enforcers, who often enforce these presumptions as if they were universally accepted facts. Understanding policy enforcers. Policy enforcers often operate under the assumption that they have the right to enforce laws based on these presumptions. Statutory law applies to employees of the state, not necessarily to private citizens unless they have agreed to its jurisdiction. However, not all actions by policy enforcers are lawful. Policy enforcers have been known to overstep their authority, infringe upon individual rights, and enforce unconstitutional laws. It's essential for individuals to understand their rights and challenge unlawful actions in a manner that maintains their sovereignty. How to protect yourself from injustice. Know your rights. The foundation of your protection lies in understanding your natural rights, which include the right to remain silent, due process, and protection from unreasonable search and seizure. These rights are yours by virtue of being human, not by the permission of the state. Challenge presumptions. If you are stopped by a policy enforcer, ask for evidence of the contract that binds you to their jurisdiction. You are not automatically bound by their presumptions unless there is a valid contract that you have agreed to. Refuse to consent. Consent is key. If you have not consented to the jurisdiction of the enforcer or the court, you can lawfully refuse to comply. Politely ask for evidence of their authority and challenge their jurisdiction. Document everything. Always document interactions with authorities. Record your encounters, ask for witnesses, and make sure there's a clear record if your rights are violated. Create a trust. By placing your assets and affairs in a trust, you protect them from the reach of the state and their presumptions. This is a tool for individuals who want to safeguard their sovereignty and assets. Conclusion. The key to protecting yourself from the injustice perpetuated by the state is to question its presumptions and understand the natural laws that govern your life. By recognizing that the state's laws operate on presumed consent and not on mutual agreement, you can challenge the validity of any contract that binds you to its jurisdiction. Through status correction, refusal to consent, and the creation of trusts, you can take control of your legal destiny and stand firmly in your rights. Never forget that under natural law, you are not a servant of the state. You are an individual with unalienable rights. It's time to be the one to stand up, protect your rights, and stop allowing unjust authority to govern your life.